on, guys? Welcome to Cooking with Nate. For this week, we're going to be making a super simple, super delicious lasagna. So without further ado, let's get down to it. Alright guys, so first things first, we're just going to start with a pot of water. We're going to add a little bit of salt to it, and we're going to let that get to a rolling boil for our noodles. Now I'm just going to be using regular lasagna noodles. These ones are dry. Now you can use oven-ready pasta noodles in place of this. I don't personally recommend it because they tend to get a little bit on the soggy side and a little bit mushy as it bakes. But, you know, if that's what you want to do, be my guest. Alright guys, so while the water's getting up to a rolling boil, we added our 1 pound of ground beef to our skillet, and we're just going to cook that up. I added a little bit of onion powder, a little bit of garlic powder, and just salt and pepper, and we're going to get that all cooked up. I like to use a little bit more of the lean ground beef, so this one's 97.3, and the reason why we want to do that is because we want to have the least amount of oil as possible so we don't get a lot of oil in our meat sauce that I'll be showing you how to make later. Alright guys, so while we were cooking our meat, our water came to a rolling boil, so all we're going to do is just going to add our lasagna pasta straight to the water. And I do a whole box because I'm going to be using about a 9 by 13 glass sheet, so we need all of the noodles. Alright guys, so we got our noodles in, and we are going to let these cook for about 5 to 7 minutes. They're going to be a little bit al dente, and that's what you want because they're going to finish cooking in the sauce whenever we bake it in the oven. So just let that sit for, like I said, 5 to 7 minutes, and then we'll pull them out and show you what to do with them. Alrighty, so our meat is nice and cooked, so what we're going to do now is we're going to drain all of the excess oil. We're draining it right out of the pan. We don't want any of the oil inside of our marinara sauce. So, like I said, I'm going to go drain this now, and I'll be right back, and I'll show you what to do next. Alrighty, so we got all the excess oil drained out of our meat. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add our marinara sauce straight to the meat. I like to use Rayo's marinara. It's actually a famous restaurant in New York City. Super exclusive, super delicious, so we like to use their sauce. We're just going to add that straight to our meat, and I'll show you how to do it. Alright, so all we're going to do is we're going to take our Rayo's. We're just going to add it directly onto the meat. Oop. Together really well. We're going to put our burner on simmer. I'm going to put it right on low because what we're going to want to do now is we're going to want the marinara and the meat to simmer together so that the flavors combine really well. Guys, so we got our Rayo's marinara sauce and our meat all combined up. So what we're going to do, we're going to leave this here. We're going to let it simmer while we take our pasta noodles that have been in the pot for about 7 minutes. We're going to go ahead and drain those. I'm going to show you what to do with them. Alright, so what we're going to do is you're going to take a plate and you're going to spray a little bit of the non-stick cooking spray right onto the plate. And we're just going to take our lasagna noodles and layer them straight onto the plate. Just put them down like so. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take a damp paper towel and lay it right over them because we don't want them to dry out while we're getting everything else prepared. Alright guys, so we got our lasagna noodles all layered up and covered with a damp paper towel so they don't dry out. At the same time, we got our meat sauce here all simmered up. So we actually let this simmer for about 10 minutes, and that was just enough to let it thicken up and get the right consistency that we're looking for. So nice and thick. This is going to be delicious. So we're just going to let that sit for just a little while, and there's only one. Now we only got 2 things left to do. We're going to create our cheese mix that's going to go inside of the lasagna. Alright guys, so we just finished up simmering the meat sauce. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make one of our cheese layers. So we're going to start off with ricotta cheese. Whole tub. Just dump it right in there. Okay, we're going to add some fresh chopped Italian parsley. Some shredded Parmesan cheese. We're going to add some fresh black pepper. And we're also going to add some salt. And you just want to mix it all up really well. Alright, just like that, now you have one of your cheese layers, and I'm going to show you next how to put the lasagna together. Alright guys, so now we're ready to put it all together. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a layer of the meat sauce. You just want to spread this around on the bottom pretty decently. The reason why we put the meat sauce first is because if we were to put the lasagna noodles down first, they have a chance of burning while we're cooking it in the oven. So just put down a nice even little layer of meat sauce. And we're just going to take our lasagna noodles and just lay them right down on top of that. Okay. And then we're going to take some of our ricotta mixture. Put it right on top of that. Now you can put as little or as a lot as you want. But me and my family, we prefer to have quite a bit of cheese. So we're going to layer this up pretty good. Okay, so once you got a layer of that, we're going to go ahead and add some mozzarella cheese. A nice thick layer of cheese. Like I said, we like ours cheesy, so I'm doing a nice big layer. Okay. Well, as soon as you got your mozzarella down, we're going to go back with a little bit more meat sauce. Just kind of spread that around as best you can. Okay, once you have a nice layer of meat sauce, you're going to go back in with some noodles. Back at it with some ricotta mixture. Now back over the top with some more mozzarella. Nice thick layers. Remember, we like ours nice and cheesy. And you know what, guys? Your boy messed up. So this is all totally optional, but I like to add cottage cheese to my layers as well. So we're going to go ahead and add that to our second layer since we forgot to add it to our first one. I forgot we had cottage cheese, and I was just in a hurry to make it because you know what? I'm pretty hungry. And we don't get to eat until this is cooked. So I said just add as little or as much cheese as you like. But if you're anything like me, we like to add a whole bunch to our stuff. Alright, Alright, so we've got a nice amount of cottage cheese inside of our layer here. So right after that, we're gonna go back in with some meat sauce. Now, lasagna is just not an exact science, guys. You just make it however you like. Put as much or as little of each ingredient as you want. But if we're getting real, if you want it to taste good, make it the way I'm making it. Okay, so now we got that. We're gonna put our last layer of lasagna noodles right there on top. Another noodle. Just like that. And back again with our ricotta mixture. Alright, I think we got that covered up pretty good now. So what we're going to do is now, because this is going to be the top of ours, we're going to want to put the meat sauce first, and then we're going to cover it with our cheese so that it makes a nice layer on top and covers it all up really well. So we're just going to add the last little bit of our meat sauce right to the top. We're just going to spread that out really well. Go back in with our cottage cheese. Put that right over the top as well. There's your cottage cheese layer. We're going to top her off with a nice big layer of mozzarella. And I actually like to add a little bit more Parmesan over the top as well, just to add a little bit more flavor. Alright guys, so after you're done layering up all your lasagna, all you're going to do is going to cover it with some aluminum foil. We're only going to cover it with foil for the first 15 minutes of baking at 375 that we already have preheated on our oven. And I only cover it for 15 minutes because we don't want any of our pasta to dry out. Alright, so we're going to just take our lasagna, stick it right in the oven, 375 for 15 minutes, and we'll come back and we'll uncover it for the last little bit. Alright guys, so it's been in the oven for about 15 minutes, and all we're going to do is just pull the foil right off, and we're going to let it finish baking for about another 20 minutes at 400 degrees. Alright guys, so our lasagna's been in the oven right now for about 15 minutes at 400 degrees. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, see the cheese is all nice and melted and bubbling and stuff like that, so it's ready to go. We're going to go ahead and pull that out, and we're going to let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes. Ah, look at that. Perfect. There you go. Well, there you have it, guys. That's how you make a nice, simple, delicious lasagna. Got my family here. We're ready to eat, so we'll see you on the next one.